Welcome to QI, where tonight our topic is journeys. And let's see who's in the arrivals hall today. All the way up from down under, it's Cal Wilson. The only way here is from Essex, Phil Jupitus. And from Port Talbot Parkway, stopping at Pyle, Bridgend, Pencoed, Llanharan, Pontydwn, Ninian Park and Cardiff Central, Rob Brydon. And bearing the label Not Wanted on Voyage, Alan Davis. And they all have little buzzer noises, and Cal goes. And Rob goes. Phil goes. Which you do, in fact, don't you?
I do.
Yeah. And Alan goes. That's your chosen mode of transport. Well, we've travelled a lot, Alan, and one of the places we travelled to a few months ago was Australia, and that's where we found Cal, who is New Zealand's perhaps greatest stand-up comedian and works mostly in Melbourne now, don't you?
Yes, I do. I've got the Antipodes covered.
Yeah. But we liked you so much, we smuggled you in our luggage and we brought you back here. So welcome.
Thank you. And I make a better souvenir than an interesting keyring, I suppose.
Exactly, exactly.
I did want a koala, but...
A stuffed koala.
Not on, apparently.
No. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single question. Where the hell did I leave my passport?
I lost mine in a plane once, and it had gone down under the cushion of my seat.
Oh. Yeah.
The actual plane seat.
Yeah.
I was on the plane for 8. I refused to get off the plane.
Yeah. You have to get your seat disassembled. I've had that.
And eventually I found it. That was the end of the story.
Oh, that's a beautiful story. That is a lovely, lovely story.
Stephen, is that Alan Davis, or is it... Hang on, is it Peter Ustinov? That was a hell of an anecdote. If that is the level of the bar this evening, I may go home.
Is it you, specifically you? Where did you leave your passport?
Well, we know it's this technique. The University of Wisconsin, when you lose something, it actually helps to say the name of the thing that you have lost or you're looking for.
Dignity.
Yes, for example. You see? Exactly.
For me, that would make it worse. That would just draw attention to it.
Your wallet has a name.
Well, no, just...
Peregrine! Peregrine! Bah! Peregrine!
That's how... It might work.
It has now.
Yes. From now on, it would be called Peregrine. But anyway, that's not the point. The point is, for example, you open a cutlery drawer, and where the hell's the garlic peeler or whatever? If you just say garlic peeler...
The garlic peeler
or whatever. It might be...
Andrew! Andrew!
You're missing my point about names here. I just mean the word we give the thing. Its normal description as found in a dictionary, not from a list of given names. So it isn't Julian the cheese grater. It isn't Barbara the corkscrew, yes?
It would put a different complexion on Marlon Brando yelling, Stella! When we just a pair of glasses that he was
Stella
after.
He
lost his wallet.
His sunglasses
Now we know.
called Stella, exactly.
So what did you do? You have to say... Then you have to say wallet. Wallet.
Well,
Say,
if...
keys.
Yeah, exactly. So you say sort of, you know, bottle opener. You've got more chance of seeing it. You're looking at the thing...
money.
You know that
Gold!
You know that phrase, it was just staring me in the face and you somehow couldn't see it. The act of speaking does something in your brain that actually allows your eyes to see it more clearly. That seems to be demonstrated.
Reminds me of that phrase, Stephen. Couldn't see the wood for the trees. Have you ever come across that phrase before?
I have. I never used to
What it
understand
basically means
Yes.
is you're looking at... Wait.
Yeah.
You're looking for wood.
Yes, yeah.
Not the way you might.
Not in that
You're looking for wood.
Yeah.
And you're looking at trees.
Yes.
So you are, in essence, looking at wood.
They're wood, aren't they?
But you're... I've got it, Alan. But you're seeing trees, so you can't see the wood for the trees. And I think, in a funny old way, it's a little bit like what you're talking about, isn't it?
Almost exactly not.
Yeah.
But it's nice. It's nice you brought that up. It's a good...
Now, the other thing, before I finish, the other thing I'd like to bring up is this whole business now with passports. They don't like you to smile in the photograph.
Oh, no.
When I grew up, a smile was almost mandatory.
Grin.
Like if you're...
Yep.
But now you have to look like you're suspected of having done something.
I look like a Russian prison guard in my passport photo.
I can see that.
Enormous...
I can see that. Absolutely. Hatchet-faced Silesian fishman. Yeah.
Every single photo me booth I get into appears to be set on paedophile.
Try and recreate that look for us now, could you?
No, right, for a kick-off, what you have to do in a photo me booth is they don't let you wear glasses either. And also, because the camera lens is behind the mirror and you don't know where it really is, you're always looking slightly off...
oh, that's true.
So, is it down... So, OK, this is the look.
Stay away from my children. It gets you out of a lot of babysitting duties there, doesn't it? Let's be honest.
But our passports would probably look quite good together, because you're the paedophile and I'm the prison guard.
Wow.
Yeah, we should travel together.
Yes.
I'm with my Kiwi handler. Do Kiwis have handlers?
They're not very good for
Are
eating.
they edible?
We're not allowed to eat them.
Like swans. I mean, the Queen's allowed them. Is the Queen allowed kiwis?
I don't think she is.
I mean, could she just eat anything she wants because she's the Queen?
I wouldn't be the one to tell her not to. But
I imagine not.
No. Stop eating that kiwi, you dreadful old woman.
I imagine that you'd be a bit more polite. You are Stephen Fry off the telly.
You don't have to do the dreadful...
No, I could just... No, but it would be a dreadful thing to do.
You'd say, stop eating that kiwi, ma'am, and some jam.
Exactly.
Your Majesty, put the puffin down. Let's just have a load of situations where we're telling the Queen to stop eating things.
That sounds like a children's game. And now have a round of Your Majesty, put the puffin down. Right. You're the Queen, so 1, 2, 3. Your Majesty, put the puffin down. Yes, very good. Anyway, I don't know why or how we got there, but that's what journeys do to you. Anyway, describe the travel arrangements of the Japanese flying snail.
Where is it going?
It probably won't travel more than 11 miles, but very fast.
Does it drop?
Yes,
Is it a fall?
Yeah, but how would it get up?
They haven't got wings, have they, you see?
No, they haven't.
Flying.
They so haven't got wings. But we haven't got wings and we fly. How do we do it?
No, in an aeroplane.
We get in an aeroplane. We get in some...
Oh, I got the answer
We get
to
in a
this.
conveyance that flies.
They hop on a bird or a creature with wings.
Yes.
A bird.
Yeah.
They hop...
Could have been a bat.
Could have been a bat.
Yeah.
Could have been a bat or a bird.
Yeah,
Or a strange hybrid of bird bat. They hop onto a creature with the ability to fly.
But 11 miles, that's very, very high.
It's not the height, it's not the altitude, never mind. They travel...
I've still got it in my head that they're dropping 11 miles.
No. It's not a voluntary act. They get eaten by birds. There are two types of birds. On the little island of Hahajima. Hahajima, it's one of the Agasawara Islands, south of Japan, as you can see. And there is the Japanese white-eye and the brown-eyed bulbul, which are two types of bird. There they are.
Yeah.
And they eat this particular snail. Yeah. And about 15% of them survive the process and are excreted out alive. And so they're kind of spreading their
Is this to
their
scale?
genes further around, yeah.
Because that seems unlikely.
No, it's not. That would be a seriously weighed down...
That snail would eat that bird. I'd back the snail.
Is the bird on the left, is that a white ring round its eye, or is it just excreted a full-size snail?
Whoa! It can be up to between 30 minutes or 2 hours later that it passes through the bird system, as it were, and the bird can fly at about 11 miles per hour.
So is the snail doing some of the work to pass through that quickly? Like, is it trundling towards the exit of the bird as well?
It's the normal peristaltic action of the digestive system of the bird is pushing it through its crop, through down into its tummy and then out of its little bitty body.
Does the snail go into his own shell, by which I don't mean get a little self-conscious? does he retreat into his shell to take shelter?
I should imagine he would.
But don't they pick them out of the shell anyway? Don't they get in the...
Like you do it in a restaurant with a special fork.
They've got a special fork.
Which is called armour.
They've got a special fork.
I'm writing down
Arnold
an ice cream scoop called Vanessa.
Yes. So anyway...
What would you call one of those pizza cutters, the roly pizza cutter?
Clement. No, fair enough.
Dave.
Well, there you are. Yes, good. So the cry goes up, abandoned ship now. That's our next question. Abandoned ship. Now, we're proud Britons and one proud Kiwi. What do we say next? What do we chaps say?
No, women and children first.
Well, yeah. So far as we know, it's only ever been cried twice. It's called the Birkenhead drill, and it happened on board a ship called the Birkenhead, but that was because the captain pointed a gun at his crew and said, women and children first. This has not been an idea that had especially existed before, and in fact, it's very un-British. Women have a lesser chance of surviving if a British ship sinks than a continental one.
That's good to know.
Yep, yeah. So we aren't the gallant creatures that we thought we were, at all. The Titanic was the other one in which the men were told to stand back. And there was, we've had this on QI before, there was one crew member who survived, went all the way home to Liverpool, and he had the door slammed in his face by his mother, who was ashamed of him for having survived. But in fact, more...
Sounds nice.
Yeah, charming, isn't it? Really extraordinary. Well, I mean, unbelievable. But obviously, you want a fair number of fit, strong people who know their way around the waters, as it were, once you're in the lifeboat. Because if it's all women and children, there's not really going to be that much necessarily use in being in the lifeboat. You need at least one crew member who can navigate by the stars or who can operate the oars efficiently.
Or isn't going, oh, look, there's a fish over there, let's go over there.
Yes, exactly. I wasn't going to be the one to say that. I damn you did. But anyway, known as the Birkenhead drill. It's not common.
Has anybody here ever had to muster? Have you ever mustered, Stephen?
Not on a ship.
Well, I was on a ship. I was filming something on a cruise ship, and it hit a rock, and we had to genuinely muster. And the important thing in that situation is to stay calm. I absolutely cacked myself. I was terrified.
Really?
Yes. Yeah, hard to believe.
No.
I was. It's very frightening. We were filming a scene with James Corden. It was a thing called Cruise of the Gods. We blacked out the windows of this cabin to simulate night. All of a sudden, the boat tipped at an incredible angle one way.
James Corden gone over to the...
Hey! Naughty!
That's very naughty, Alan. That's very naughty. You know, a lot of people in Britain struggle with their weight, Alan.
Yes, yes, I do. Yeah.
I wasn't thinking of you. But,
Were you with him?
and we ended up having to abandon ship that night, just like similar to Titanic.
Yeah.
We're all being led. I don't want to say just like.
I don't know.
It wasn't that bad.
It's a good enough story without having to embellish it that
all
much.
right, yeah. But we get off and we're going away, watching the ship lit up in the background.
Where was the nearest land?
We were close to land because we were coming out of a port. The captain was coming out of port too fast. And sure enough, we went... So we were quite close, but a very frightening experience.
I mean, I don't, you know, with all due difference to the captain of this vessel going too fast out of port, I mean, if he doesn't do that, his kids can't water ski.
Fair point. He's got to give him a treat.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. What's the point of being a captain if you can't have a laugh with it?
Anyway, there you are, yes. Who used to hang out with Richard Burton and drive cabbies around the bend? Yeah.
Elizabeth Taylor.
Oh, very good!
That is... No.
Who is that? Go on.
It's not O.J. Simpson.
It is O.J. Simpson, very good. With Burton, of course. So, now we're confusing you because this is a bit naughty of us. I say this enemy of cabs was a real enemy of cabs. And oddly enough, by mentioning Elizabeth Taylor, for which... chapeau, as they say in French. You've got the right gender because the person who annoyed this cabbie was in fact a woman, and that's the Richard Burton we're talking about. And who is that Richard Burton?
Was he an explorer? He was an English explorer.
He was an amazing man.
And he went off for years and years at a time and would occasionally write letters to his wife. As seems to be no tweeting or Skyping or
There was
anything.
no tweeting, absolutely. He spoke 29 languages. He was a quite remarkable man. And he gave the English-speaking world the unexpurgated translation of the 1001 Nights and indeed the Kama Sutra. So he was considered by Victorians as absolutely outrageous and scandalous, but he was an extraordinary scholar, adventurer, a remarkable man, truly remarkable man. But he had a friend called Mrs. Prodgers, who I assume must have been, that sounds like a Welsh surname, presumably Prodgers. Is it Prodgers? Is it a name you've come across before?
No,
It's a new one on me, I have to say.
I've never heard
Prodgers.
Prodgers.
Nice name, Mrs. Prodgers.
Mrs. Prodgers came in yesterday. What did she want? Well, she wouldn't say. She was looking for you.
You she's built up a whole little scenario.
She looked upset, though.
No, she
I
dead
hear her
upset.
Bronwyn is taking her exams this week. Yes, she is. Mind you, that glandular fever has played hell with her revision.
Yeah, and we're looking next week for episode 2 of Life with the Produce. Now, this woman, whose name was Produce, had conducted a lifelong, insane, very typically Victorianly eccentric battle against cabbies, for whom, for some reason, she really had it in for them. Seems they ply a harmless trade. In those days, of course, using horses rather than engines. And she knew, to within feet, the exact limits of the journeys they could make for 1 shilling. And she would make them make the journey within a few yards of the boundary, which would then allow them to charge more. And then she would wait precisely the amount of time she was allowed to wait without them charging extra waiting time. And then she gloried more than anything else in them trying to get more money off her, and then she would take them to court, and she would usually win. It's a bizarre practice.
Wow.
But it got to the stage, she also travelled in sort of some style, so when she arrived at King's Cross Station, she would have 5 porters, 3 for her luggage, and 2 to carry her children. And there'd be the line of cabs outside, just as there is today in any major station, and there would be a shout of, Mrs. Produce, and they'd all bugger off. They'd all disappear. And there was, in 1876, on Bonfire Night, made an effigy of her, the cabbies, and burned her in a huge bonfire. And there were musical songs about it. It was a very famous, sort of bizarre thing that this woman had it in for cabbies. Who knows, one of them may have tried to molest her, or failed to molest her, or whatever.
When you realise that she's in your cab.
God, I know. Oh, that was just bloody Produce.
And she jumps in and goes, oh, shit, Mrs. Produce.
Yeah, I've got Mrs. Produce. Very extraordinary. Anyway, but for some reason, she was very friendly with Richard Burton, and he helped her and gave her advice. And considering he was, as you rightly say, not considered a particularly gallant man, as far as his wife was concerned, he was away a lot. He was always very helpful and kind to her, and the rest of the family never understood it because he was usually rather short-tempered with them. They couldn't understand it. It's a standing joke that his regard for Mrs. Produce.
She wasn't his alter ego. Wasn't like his...
No, I don't think
He dressed up as Mrs. Produce.
Interesting. Were they ever seen together in the same room?
Because he goes off exploring thousands and thousands of miles, but as Mrs. Produce, he only goes about 20 centimetres at a time.
Interesting thought, isn't it?
I got into a taxi once in London, and the taxi driver saw me in the mirror, and he went, "Oh, hello, mate. Yeah, can I say, we do enjoy, the wife and I, watching you." And I thought, oh, this is going to be lovely. And he started telling me what he liked, but he was mistaking me for Ben Miller.
Yeah, I love him to do that. Yeah. I know.
And he started listing lots of Ben's out
I like that,
projects.
primeval.
Yeah, and he said, that worst week of my life. I mean, so I just played along. I said, oh, thank you very much. And then he actually said, I'll tell you what, you must get confused for. Is that Welsh one? Is that...
Awful, man.
And I said, oh, Rob Brydon. He said, yeah. I said, oh, he's good, I said, I think he's fantastic. And he said, what, him, the Welsh one? I think he's a twat.
So, there we are. That was Richard Burton. How long would it take you to bicycle from Land's End to the northernmost part of Britain?
What? John O'Groats, you mean?
Oh! That's very mean of me, wasn't it?
Don't know. Ask clear, well-defined questions.
We just like to make you say
You can't buzz me on chit-chat.
no, that's the point, really. It's not the northernmost part of Britain.
Is it not?
No, surprisingly. It sort of advertises itself as such, and it has a little hut. That's the last house in Scotland in John O'Groats.
Oh, there's one of those boys in calipers with a slot in his box. I haven't seen one of those for
A long
years.
time ago, I know.
There's always one of those on the high street when I was a kid.
Well, it used to be called the Spastic Society. It's now Scope, I think, isn't
You
it?
put a penny in and he was still there the next week.
Did you put the penny in to make him go away?
So I thought it would get him better. Poor lad.
Oh, bless.
You look at him there, he's obviously on his holidays there.
I used to like those ones where you put the penny in and it just rolled round and round and round and round and round.
We had a guide
around.
dog, he put
they
the
still
penny in
those?
his head. We had a lifeboat one, when he put the penny in, and the
That's right.
lifeboat came out.
Yeah, I like
Always
that.
putting
There's a-
pennies in things.
There's a brilliant model of Queen Victoria's dog in Sydney, outside the Queen Victoria building, and it's like you put a donation, but it talks. So it's a little, like, Highland Terrier, and it says in very beautiful newsreader tones, "During my lifetime, because of my good deeds, after my death, I was granted the power of speech." Like this. And then it goes, "If you put a coin in the box, I will say thank you." And then it pauses, and then it goes, "Thank you." Woof.
That lad said nothing to me.
Not a word.
Every week I put something in his box.
Which do you put it in the box, or is it his head?
You put it in
or
his,
is it...
It's got a slot in his box. He might have 2 slots. Some of them would have 2 slots.
2 slots in their box, yeah. Women have... no, stop. I never said that. It's,
I resign.
Yes, quite, absolutely.
We've established
shameful.
this is not your area.
He looks...
Yeah, exactly.
It's like you're talking about Narnia or something. It's a fantastical land you've only heard about.
Exactly.
You make your way through the fur coats and suddenly...
Wielding a coin. A
Then
single
for a while
coin.
you have a magical time, but then you meet an ice maiden.
Oh, dear God. Anyway, yes.
You're telling me there's somewhere further than John
There is
O'Groats?
indeed Dunnet Head. That's the actual northernmost spot. So if you've got all the way to John O'Groats and you haven't gone there, you just
Put a cycle on there, though, would you?
No,
It's a bit
that's
bumpy and-
rather beautiful, isn't it? It's about 603 miles as the crow flies, but by road it's about 800 miles. Cyclists could take 10 to 14 days doing it. The record for running the route, what would you say is? Have a guess.
You couldn't do it in less than a week, could you?
No, no. It's 9 days and 2 hours, which is pretty damn good going. Pretty damn good going,
I'll
frankly. In 2005, a golfer named David Sullivan hit a golf ball all the way. It took him 7 weeks. I don't know what his score was. He also, he didn't fill in his card correctly at the end, disqualified.
Was it a putter?
Did he mean to do it? Did he mean to do it, or was he just trying to get it in the
He was
hole?
just
anyway?
playing it where it lies. And it would,
I'll it again.
it would land in the back of a lorry going the other direction.
I feel sorry for the bloke that was standing waiting for him holding the flag.
So people have done it all kinds of different ways. In 1911, there was a motorcycle record of 29 hours and 12 minutes, which led to a ban on further attempts because the time necessarily proved that they'd been breaking the speed limit, which was 20 miles per hour. Now, here's a bird you might see near John O'Groats. What is it?
Well...
Gannet.
Not a gannet, it's not
Is it,
a falcon.
is it the one puffin the Queen hasn't eaten?
It is a puffin. Well done.
It's a puffin.
It's a puffin. Yes, we usually think of puffins as looking
Where's its beak?
more like this,
It's
don't
a
we?
bill.
There, that's exactly. Well,
Photoshop,
when they've had
Photoshop.
sex
It's a
and it's winter,
ninja puffin.
once they've had sex and it's winter, they don't need to look all bright like that, and so they go all dull.
Its beak is... Well, I
And
suppose
the beak
its
actually
is
falls
shrunk
off.
enough
And it
to
falls
sex.
off. Yeah.
Falls off?
Yes.
What?
Yeah. I know. It's just there to attract a mate, and then once
The dirty, dirty puffin.
Is it the equivalent of a woman losing her figure after she's got married?
I
The
suppose.
minute the ring goes on, they just go to pieces.
Oh, no,
To
behave.
me, it looks more like the equivalent of a woman taking her padded bra off. That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
Yes, there, I'm afraid.
She's
there
just
is.
not making an effort anymore, is she?
The eye there, has that just been stuck on the other eye? Is that
Yeah, again, it's a colour there. It's all
just
to
blind? I look great.
all to look bright and sexy.
Oh, hello, it's worked.
They rather sweetly pair for life, male and female puffins, and they make together 1 egg a year. So once they've mated, they don't need to attract each other anymore. So they, you know, for the winter season, when there's, you know, they're busy feeding, and they just, and then they sort of put
I
on,
remember
put on
when
their
you
spring
cared about
makeup.
me.
Exactly. But then
You
they
used to
do.
have a pink beak. Used to
then
put
it
the eye
comes back.
makeup
Yeah.
on.
It comes back again.
Comes back.
Yeah. So but they're lovely, lovely little creatures, aren't they? Do you know what a baby puffin is called?
A puff.
It's it's a puffling. Isn't that lovely? So, exactly.
That's like something out of Harry Potter.
They
sounds-
love that.
It sounds like it's
Say it again, they loved it.
puffling.
How many people now have a new nickname for their partner?
Exactly,
Their
puffling.
partner, did you say?
It sounds
Yeah.
Oh, he said
something
for a
like
moment.
something
I
made
was
out
going to
of.
say their penis.
For some people, that is their partner.
Like puffling.
I like those party hats you can get with a bit of elastic.
And
The one on the left, he looks like a whoop. It could easily...
Honestly, a toucan could do great on that puffin island. You imagine?
it's scored big time.
Oh, Nelly.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Hey, ladies.
Well, they spend their time.
From the tropics. This doesn't fall off after. No, I'm keeping this. Yeah, I've still got the Guinness money.
They are.
He'd be freezing cold, though, wouldn't he, after a while? Oh, you do this.
It's
Oh,
true.
would his beak get smaller in the winter?
These are very.
Are these just Arctic toucans?
Well, no, they're not actually. They're a kind of auk, in fact. Most of those you'll find in the North Atlantic, and these, indeed, John O'Groats would be a very good place to see them.
Not Auckland.
But not Auckland, oddly enough. That's spelled with a C, a little redundant C, A-U-C-K.
Oh, of course it is,
Yeah. But out to sea, they're pelagic, and they have little backward, sort of like barbed rows of things to basically to store fish in their mouth. But they're lovely, lovely creatures. Of course, the Catholic Church counted them as fish, so you could eat them on Fridays. Good. So, anyway, for evolutionary reasons, puffins' beaks fall off after sex, assuming you believe in evolution, that is, like that... what was the name of the naturalist on board the Beagle?
Charles Darwin, you mean?